Hello, my name's Paul. Thank you very much for taking the time to have a look at this short video. Please forgive me if I look down now and again at my notes. I'm 67 and I sometimes forget why I've gone outside. And if it's good enough for President Trump and other world leaders to look at the notes, I'm sure you're going to accept me doing it. Well, my lifelong passion with horse racing started, I guess, when I was about 13 or 14. A school friend of ours joined a local horse racing stable called Harry Wharton's at Doncaster, and we used to go and meet him at the races when he was taking the horses around. So that's when I first became involved with horse racing, if you can call it an involvement. I remember seeing the bookmakers and with satchels full of money and thinking they just stood around making loads of money. How are they doing that? That's incredible. How on earth do they earn so much money by standing still and just using the brains? So I was hooked immediately, really. I loved the sport and fascinated by the opportunity to make some easy money. I followed and enjoyed horse racing ever since then. Besides the sport itself, one of the reasons I've enjoyed horse racing down the years is that I find every horse racing a puzzle to work out, and the reward for solving the puzzle is cash. I enjoy the process of studying the form and looking for those clues that could help me find the winner. Does the horse like going left-handed? Has it got a good draw? Some horses have got dodgy knees and don't like running downhill. Has it got a good jockey? Has it got a bad jockey? As I said, a good jockey, I've learnt over the years, makes all the difference. You can have all the other factors in line, but if you have a poor jockey who gets in the wrong position, hasn't got much awareness or daring to take that split-second opportunity, it won't win. Whereas if you get a good jockey, it'll give the horse every chance of winning. If my pre-race analysis is right, and I've backed the winner, then I've won some cash. If my horse loses, I look at the post-race analysis and try and understand which clues I've missed. So every day there are puzzles to be solved, races to be enjoyed, and opportunities to win money. So that's how I started in horse racing. So then I moved on to about a bit of my betting history. Liz and I married when we were only 19. We had children young, and so for most of my adult life I could only have small stake multiple bets. I was still studying form though and enjoyed the racing. In 2000, Betfair came along and the ability to lay horses without being a bookmaker came along. I'd spent my life backing losers, so I thought this must be very easy. I thought I cracked it. I spent a few days laying big priced horses and winning every time, because the horse of course lost. Then one day I laid a 25-1 loser and immediately lost everything that I'd been winning for the past few days. Back to the drawing board, I thought. Around this time I started using early betting bots as well. One of them was called Gruss, which I'll tell you about more later. That enabled one-click betting, bet placement, and had the most fabulous functionality to be explored. I love that. I retired from work at 50 and decided to have a bash at making money through betting and trading. I attended various courses and met lots of like-minded people who shared ideas. I attended a betting exchange shop. A betting exchange shop, for you who don't know, is an office where we used to go and have a desk with a computer with fast betting software on called Gruss that I mentioned earlier. And we had access to pictures, fast pictures, being broadcast from the race courses. So they're in front of the office, in front of the desk, were a large screen, and we could see the racing. The advantage of that was that we knew the names of the satellites and could intercept the live broadcasts from the race courses and bet on races seconds before the Betfair users. So the Betfair users watching terrestrial television were 2 or 3 seconds behind us, and we could see a horse fall, particularly at Ascot, and then lay it before other Betfair viewers had still thought it was in the race. Also, you could back horses just as they were passing the post seconds before other people saw it. Only talking small odds, but certain to win every time. I was learning a lot by now. I'd been lots of courses, I'd been to exchange shops, I'd met interesting people. Around this time, I was having my bookmaker accounts closed though. In those days, if you had an account closed, it was sort of a badge of honour for a tipster. It was testament to the fact that you knew what you were doing and you were going to win. So I remember years ago, tipsters used to have their letter from the bookmaker declaring that they were being banned and use that as an advertising promotion. Nowadays, of course, bookmakers don't ban you. I don't know if you know about this. They just restrict you, or heavily restrict you, because bookmakers still want to be able to say to their shareholders and not display on their accounts that they've got X number of users. So they don't want to ban members or clients. They still want to retain that number of people, but they don't want you to be able to actually make any money at it. And that leads me on to onto a gripe of mine. One of my gripes, because obviously at 67 I've got lots of gripes, is that bookmakers only allow you to play the game if you don't know the rules. You know, if you know how to win, you know how the odds work and where value lays and about arbitrage and lots of other things, they'll ever restrict you. Whereas if you don't know, they want mug punters, you can have an account forever. And I think, and then they've got the temerity to put on their advertising blurb, be gamble aware, bet safely. Well, they certainly know how to do it, because they won't let you play the game if you know. So that really, I think it's criminal, actually. Being heavily restricted then by the bookmakers, I've nearly lost track where I were up to there, led me down various alleyways. One of them was to use a VPS to mask my IP address. I was arbitraging tennis matches, so you could have £1,000 on Tennis Player A, for example, and £1,000 on Tennis B. The margins were only small, but it was using hard bookmakers versus soft bookmakers. So, for example, that's bookmakers in Europe versus bookmakers in Far East. So you could make a small percentage on a game, but you'd be certain to win. But you'd obviously have to have large amounts. So one day I went to have £1,000 on Tennis Player A with, let's say, bad crooks. And then I went to have me balancing £1,000 bet on Tennis Player B with a Far Eastern betting company, and my VPS that was masking my IP address made it appear to the bookmaker as though we're in a jurisdiction where betting wasn't allowed. So I couldn't get me a balancing £1,000 on, so I had to quickly get out of the other trade. But then again, it taught me I was still up another blind alley, really. So back to the drawing board yet again. But here I was learning how to win at betting, but I've been banned or restricted from all bookmakers. So I thought, well, what should I do? Well, it took me a long time to find out how to win at betting. So I thought I'll start teaching people. So I started writing books as well. Oh, sorry, did it go back there? I don't know what happened there. So I started teaching people, and I've been writing courses and teaching people for well over 20 years now. One day, while I was teaching courses, I had a call from a chap called Glyn. Glyn was a futures trader, and he was trading with a syndicate out of Chicago, and he'd asked me if I want to join him in teaching option trading, because he was tired of the screen time. He was tied to a screen all day. So I did that. I went to meet Glyn. He taught me all about option trading, which there are a lot of similarities between Betfair trading, actually market movements, stop losses, and I picked it up quite quickly. And then Glyn and I taught option trading in London and Sheffield for maybe 5 or 6 years. I've met some really interesting people, and I thought I'd tell you a bit about a few of them, because I think they're amazing, some of them. One was a card counter. I received a call one day from a chap who wanted to come on the option trading course, and he said, well, I'll fly down in my own aeroplane. So I rang Glyn. I said, well, we've either got a genius here or a complete nutter. Anyway, I looked at his name on the CAA website, Civil Aviation Authority, and sure enough, he did have his own aircraft. And what he was doing, he was card counting. Of course, that they soon get banned in America or Europe if you're caught doing that. But in certain countries, such as Hungary and Bulgaria, their governments say if we give you a license to be a casino, you can't really ban people. So this chap was going to Hungary and Bulgaria and card counting basically and making a lot of money, until one day, because casino winnings are quite public, he woke up one day with a gun at his head. Hence he rang us to come on the option trading course. He also knew, he would tell him about roulette as well. On a roulette wheel, I don't know if you know, but there's some small diamonds all the way around the circumference that deflect the ball around. Well, over time, they wear, and it's good practice in Europe and UK to change those diamonds every month or whatever, on a regular basis anyway. But in these other countries, they don't change them, and he knew about diamond deformation affecting where balls which were deflected to. Only a small margin, but enough to make it profitable. Then another chap I met who wanted to come on the course was a blind chap. He was blind from birth, and he'd made himself an excuse me, an internet millionaire, despite being blind from birth. I distinctly remember meeting him at the railway station and leading him to the course that I was running. Incredible. And then there was an Austrian chap who came, and he ended up pushing my car, by the way, it went around to petrol. And he was part of a group of some German people as well, who were involved in bookmaker affiliate schemes. And they made a good deal of money doing that. Basically, bookmakers will pay to attract customers, like they pay for advertising. They also run affiliate schemes whereby if you introduce a customer to them, they will pay you a percentage, up to 20% of that person's losses. So what this group were doing, they'd have a website, member A would open a website, and then obtain affiliate links for various bookmakers, Bad Crooks, William Hill, Carl, etc., etc. Then member B would go on that website, open an account with the bookmaker using that affiliate link. So now he's inextricably linked to members A affiliate scheme. So then he would go and have, say, £1,000 on Manchester United to win a certain game with Bad Crooks, then lay that £1,000 on Betfair, so effectively the bet neutral. However, if Manchester United win the game, the bet neutral, they'll lose the money with Bad Crooks but win it on Betfair, apart from a small commission difference. But if Manchester United lose the game, they lose on the win on Betfair, and with the losing bet with Bad Crooks pay 20%, £200 back to member A. And they was doing that with multiple bookmakers. So he was an interesting chap. And after the option trading course, I ran out of petrol, taking him back to the station, and had to push the car. So I've met some really interesting people and some really smart people out there. But anyway, enough of that, back to the here and now. I retired from teaching betting classes and teaching option trading. So I thought I'd decided to tell a couple of the courses that I used to teach in manual form. So I've distilled my lifetime in betting, the strategies I've used and the experience of people I've met into 3 books. You are up against some very smart people out there and betting bots which use Betfair, so you really need all the help you can get. So I'll tell you a little about the 3 books if you don't mind, and thank you for sticking with me all this time. I hope you find it interesting. So the first one is an inroading betting book. I mentioned earlier that I used betting bots for many years, and one of them is called Grus, and we used to use Grus at the betting exchange shops. The book demonstrates how to use Grus on various strategies that I've developed over the years, and some that I picked up at the betting exchange shops. The book is 180 pages. It demonstrates 56 strategies, a couple of which are available on video, probably on Steve's website or another website you may find around the internet. Please do have a look at some of the videos, because one of them, for example, just an example, I demonstrate how to back the favourite pre-race, just randomly, no form study, just back any favourite, and then get Grus to lay it in running if it looks like losing. I do like that. Back a winner or get your money back if it looks like not winning. So that's a really good book. I enjoyed that, and that's the first book I wrote, actually. Then I've written a book on Dutch betting. It's 87 pages long, and it uses screenshots and narrative to demonstrate how to use Dutch betting to make a profit. It includes a section I wrote following me through 2 days, every race for 2 days, looking at market shape, race type, every factor you need to decide whether to get involved in a Dutch bet on a particular race or not. And I'll take you through the outcome for every one. So basically, I honestly believe it's the best, most comprehensive book out there on Dutching and how to make money using Dutching. And finally, the one on football. Football's another one of my lifetime passions. In fact, I remember in 1966 watching England win the World Cup and then going outside and playing football in the yard. Since then, I was never any good myself, I should add. I've watched my son and grandsons play amateur football, and I'm a season ticket holder at my local team. So yeah, I love football as well, and betting. So obviously Betfair, don't know what's happened there. So obviously it's gone behind a cloud, the sun, I do apologise. So Betfair football markets are obviously a natural environment for me to get involved in. So the football manual is 100 pages long, and it's a compilation of advanced and little known football betting strategies and how to automate many of them. Thank you for taking the time then to have a look at this video. I hope you found it interesting and hopefully stimulating. One of the reasons I wanted to write these books is to show people what's possible, and having read them, hopefully develop their ideas of their own. There's some great opportunities out there. Please feel free to contact me at pbent58ebent58@gmail.com with any questions. It's always lovely to meet like-minded individuals. Thank you again for looking at this video. Goodbye.